Hello all, welcome back to Sunday School at Black Forest Lutheran Church. And well, this may be our last video for a while because the plague is letting up enough that we can get together again at our sanctuary. But remember all the videos that we've done before because there's a candy reward for each one of them. Remind me of what you're supposed to, and we'll share some candy. But let me tell you about this week's Bible hero from the Old Testament. It's my favorite Bible hero. Arise, Bible hero of the old. Good. Rising up is my favorite Bible hero. It's David. David from David and Goliath. I was named after David. He's my favorite. So let me tell you about the story of David. Now, David, well, he started out from his father and his mother. That Jesse was his father. And Jesse and his wife, well, they got together and they had babies. They had a bunch of baby boys. So Jesse and his wife had several babies, but the youngest of them was the boy David. Now, as they grew up, most of the other boys went and they joined the army. But David was a shepherd, and he guarded sheep. So one day, Jesse told David to hop on over to the pantry, because in the pantry was some food that he wanted to send to his brothers who were in the army. Now, his father wanted to send some bread to his brothers and wanted to send some corn. Send them some corn. That's corn. And he wanted to send some cheese to the captain of the guard of the boys. So he wanted to send some cheese, bread, and corn with David. And so David hopped right to it, and he took them all already. But he took them all, and he took them to his brothers who were in the army. Now, the army was deployed at this time because the Philistines were attacking them. They were attacking the kingdom of Judah. Well, here, let's ask the map. We'll wake the arrow up. Arrow, can you wake up? Wakey up. Ah, there we go. Arrow, can you show us where on the map the Philistines came from? Where is Philistine? Oh, okay, good. Well, is it there? Oh, it's right there, opposite the Dead Sea and along the coast. That's the land of the Philistines. So the Philistines had made an army, and they were marching to conquer Judah, which is where the Jews were living. And the Jewish army was marching out with David's brothers with them, and they met the Philistines at the Valley of Elah. Arrow, show us where the Valley of Elah is. Okay, there it is. It's right between those two mountain ranges. One mountain range on one side, one mountain range on the other side, and through the middle was the Valley of Elah. Okay, you can go back and you can go to sleep now. You want to go back? Okay, go on back and sleepy. Good nap. Okay, so David took the bread, corn, and cheese to the army, and the Philistines were attacking. Now, on one mountain ridge was the Jewish army, and on the other mountain ridge were the Philistines. Now, no army wants to charge up another army's mountain with them throwing rocks and spears and arrows down on them. So they were both trying to tempt the other to attack. And what the Philistines did is they sent out their biggest, baddest warrior to challenge any of the Jewish fighters to fight one-on-one. Now, Goliath was so big that when he finished his sack lunch and he pulled out a toothpick, that was so big that it was bigger than even David was. That toothpick was huge. But that toothpick is what Goliath used. And you could see why nobody in the army really wanted to fight him. But David knew God was on his side. So David volunteered. Now, the king said, "No, you're just a shepherd. You're a little guy. That's a big guy, a giant. And he's a seasoned warrior." Well, to convince the king, David told the king a story. He told the king a story out of his own past. Now, the story he told him, well, I don't want to read you the words of the story. Rather, let me show you the story. David said that one day he was guarding his father's sheep, and he had the sheep in a flock in a field. And suddenly, out of one side, came a ferocious lion. Roar! And the lion ran up and grabbed a sheep and was running away with it. Roar! Bah! Roar! Bah! Sheep didn't like it. Well, David took out his sling and he threw a rock at the lion and stopped the lion cold. Ouch! And then he ran up and he killed the lion with his bare hands. The lion died. And thus David saved the sheep. Well, the king heard the story and said, okay, go do your best. Maybe the giant will not last as long as the lion did. Well, so David was given permission, and he saw that he would need his sling. So he decided to go reach into his pouch and pull his sling out. And then he was going to need some rocks. And so he saw a stream of water. And he reached into the water and he pulled out a round rock. And he reached in and pulled out another round rock. And he put those in his bag and another round rock. He wasn't sure how many he would need, so David pulled out, see, that's 4, and he pulled out 5 round rocks and put those all in his pouch. And then he went out to meet the giant in the valley of Elah. And when the giant saw this shepherd coming out, he laughed. He thought this was going to be an easy kill. But David came up, and David reached in and pulled out a sling. And he reached in and pulled out a rock. And he threw that rock at the giant and hit him right between the eyes and killed that big hunk dead as a doornail. Now, if you can remind me that David took his sling and a rock and killed that big hunk dead, well, then maybe you and I can get together and share some big hunk together. Thank you much. I look forward to sharing some big hunk with you when you tell me the story of David and Goliath, that big hunk of a guy. Thank you much. See you at church. Be at church. Take care until we meet again, and we'll probably have more magic. We will definitely have more magic when Sunday school starts up again. See you then.